hard to tell.
They just ha 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 ha. American Joe comes with his ideas. We tell him he is good, but he is just voice.
No, OGN is really cool actually, okay. But I think they tend to be more collaborative than most and more like liberal and westernized than most other Korean companies would be.
Did you see that video that someone put out recently where it was like they'd collected all those famous trash talk segments from OGN into one video, and it was from like all over the years?
No, that sounds amazing.
It was good. So they had that segment right from before the OGN summer final, the one where Katie Bullets played SK Telecom, and they had a section in there that has Ryu in, which is hilarious. So I imagine the same reaction that Ryu had was kind of like what they had when you would suggest something and then you would leave the room, okay? Because in this section, okay, one of them, I think it's Pumandu, makes a really lame joke that because it's the telecommunications war of KT versus SKT, that like, okay, KT's going to be going at this speed, but we're going to be going at LTE speed or something. And then when they relay this like bad joke to Ryu goes, Lily? And just like leans forwards in this like hilarious, it's one of the funniest, like, first of all, not only make a gif out of that, but make a gif where it's side by side, me doing the impression, synced up with him doing it, and let's see who did it better, okay? I want a 1v1 Ryu, and beat him at his own impression. Lily?
Really?
Lily? And I just so I can feel like I was actually we'll get to Ryu later. Unfortunately that guy up ribby. Okay. I thought I had a good question, a good topic here that Nif could kind of touch on for us, which is it was announced this week that YellowPete has officially retired. And so I thought, listen, Nif played against the guy a lot of his career. He was around him in Europe a lot. He's another German guy. He can kind of give his sense on it. But first of all, before I allow Nif to say nice things about him or give us his sense of him, I'll just insert the classic Thooorin joke. But I'm now padding it like this before all the CLGU fans get butthurt, which is my joke goes like this. This week, it was announced that YellowPete realized what the rest of us realized 2 years ago, which is that he won't be competing at a top level anymore at his position. Boom, boom. Okay, over to you, Nick. What do you think of YellowPete and retiring now? What do you think of his career? What do you think of him as a guy? Do you know much about him?
Not too much, but what Vicken Frog always said, it was like super nice, even nicer than I am. So.
Monty, what did you think of YellowPete as a player?
I think he was a nice German boy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. What about as a player? Analytical skills here. Yeah. Analytical skills here, Monty.
You know, Thorin, sometimes it's what you don't say that means the most.
Is that why you never tell me you love me?
That's it. It's okay. It's unrequited, you know.
Okay, yeah.
You say, it's how our conversations go. You walk up to me and you say, I love you, and I just stare at you and then turn and slowly walk away.
And then I go in to hug you, and you go, save it for the show. Save it for the show.
Two coaches there. They had their analysts there as well.
Oh, I have one last question about this series, actually. You mentioned the Azir pick. People had been actually saying, I think it was on Twitter, I saw someone make a comment along the lines of that they actually thought Bjergsen was going to pick Azir, and that they were surprised it was like available in the patch, and that if he got it, he would destroy everyone, and like the poke would be too much if he played it mid. What do you think of this, LS? You're shaking your head. What?
Loco just discovered Azir right before he went back to America. He played it in Korean solo queue because he got dumpstered by some Korean. I don't mean that offensively. I just mean like the Korean Azir like absolutely like 1v9'd him. And after that,
plus there's too many Koreans have dumpstered Loco. You can't be expected to remember them all. Exactly. Come on, it's just some Korean. Keep going.
Pretty much every Korean player.
But like, so Loco looked up Azir. I remember watching the stream. Loco looked up Azir. He looked up all his stats, and he said that he was really OP. And
I firmly believe that he is very OP.
He is OP. I think he's the most broken champion in the game if he's like mastered.
Yeah, his theoretical usage, Azir, he has so much utility, it's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. No, but the Azir pick, I feel like it's forced on Bjergsen too soon. That's how I feel about it. Well, no. What I mean is like I feel like okay, so how long has Bjergsen actually had to play Azir? I think he's only been playing it like 2 or 3 weeks, and then if you factor in he probably doesn't get him in every single scrim, okay, and then solo queue doesn't actually mean too much. Maybe he has like less than 30 games on like competitive Azir matches. I don't feel like that's really enough, you know? Like, I don't know.
So I mean, that sounds like we've all heard that situation before. You know, Bjergsen was like, "Listen, I'm not entirely sure I'm comfortable doing this. Like, I'm not really ready." And they're like, "But Bjergsen, if you love me, then you'll do this for me." Anyway, just keep going. I think we'll just cut that audio off right there, Monty. I've learned some restraint in my career, my friend. So let's keep going. Let's keep going to the next topic, shall we?
So yeah, there's that.
So okay, you did. So I understand your reasoning for you didn't want to be the head coach. But hypothetically, if you were to do coaching, do you think it would actually suit you, aside from your desire to play still? So if you could just, if for some reason you didn't want to play anymore, if you just took what you have now and you became a coach, how do you think you would be suited to being a coach?
So I think what I'm decent or good at is that I know the game and I've played it, so I can actually put myself in like the player's position, which I think a lot of coaches can't. I've played with them, so I can talk to them properly. Say I had no desire left to play, right? I know the game, so I can talk to analysts. I don't want to be the analyst, but I want to get info fed to me from the analysts, bring that to the team, discuss that with them. And then I just want to make sure we have a healthy team environment, because I feel a lot of people underestimate how important that is, you know. So it'd be silly shit, you know, like Friday evening, take the team for bowling. I don't care. Like, I know Froggen and Reckless would like to play 6 hours more of League of Legends, but at one point, you know, that's not going to give you more than your team actually getting along with each other. Because if you don't get along with each other, you're not gonna like. If you get upset, you'll shut down. But if you get along with each other and you get upset, then you know your teammates got your back and you'll get back into the game, whatever. And I think that's a healthy practice schedule. Whenever I hear people, oh my God, Korea plays 14 hours a day, I'm like, do the fucking math. If you do 14 hours a day, sure, some days you can do that. But if you do 14 to 16 hours every day, when are you gonna sleep? When are you gonna eat? And when are you gonna get outside to get some fresh air? Like, it's absolutely bogus and mental to do that, because you'll just burn like to ashes within a year.
Well, that's what happens to them, and they do that. I mean, some of them, not all of them, do that, but some of them do that, and I don't think it's healthy, and I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good at all. I don't think it's good at all. No, I don't even think it is optimal. I think
very few individuals like Froggen. I know he plays a shit ton of League, but even then, maybe it's better like spend some time with your team. At what point? If you play 12 hours a day, isn't the 2 hours better spent to go bowling with your team? Or
I agree.
Get some dinner with your team?
I mean, that's definitely my attitude.
Okay, I see what the problems are in EG here, Monty. Like, they do their scrim block, and then Crepo was like, "Who's up for bowling?" And then they were like, I really want to watch movies right now, because it's like, where's the synergy? Where's the love? Bring it in. Bowling on 10.
I'm taking you bowling next time we hang out, Crepo.
Hey, man, I didn't get enough bowling, Cali. Okay. Can't help me there.
Okay, right.
Like a pro's life, it also affects image. Like, if does SKT have to rotate Faker?
I don't think they have to. They just do it because it's the preseason.
Because exactly, Easyhoon's he's never seen play.
No,
He won't see play.
Oh, that's true.
Once preseason's over, like you're never gonna swap him out. His career's fucking over. Thanks, Riot. Like,
no, like, he could go to
another team. Yeah.
Hey, listen, Monty. Most people only say Riot, please. At least LS says thank you, Riot. You know, I like his way of complaining better. It's a lot more appreciative, you know. No, it's true. That's the problem. Actually, is that he can play in the reserve league, okay. But the problem is, in an ideal world, Easyhoon is definitely good enough to be like the 8th best mid laner and just be on the worst team in but instead he'll just be the reserve for the rest of his career, and because it's Faker, he never will get to see play ever, unless Faker breaks his here's the best thing Easyhoon can do for me his career now, Monty. Not practice more, not learn more champions, not try and duo with the junglers. His job now is sort of like Home Alone. He has to set up like Tonka trucks at the top of stairs when Faker's coming along. He has to like drop a piece of soap so that it makes the floor slightly shiny, but not too shiny that it would alert the Faker as he's getting in the shower. These are the only ways he can see competitive play again, Monty, is using subterfuge and traps. Okay, so Home Alone 6, Easyhoon edition. I want the Photoshop made. Okay, keep going, LS. Yeah.
No, but I feel like he's doomed, and I don't know, like, he can't even talk to another team, like, Nick Allen's gonna come after him, like, I don't know I really don't know what's gonna happen.
And their dominance actually came initially while he was the support player, though.
That's correct. He was playing, again, the pick supports. He was just always a very aggressive support, and then he was aggressive jungler. Like, the jungle Yorick, again, will always typify Loveling for me, because he was against the Lee Sins of the world. Like, that was when Lee Sin was is like most popular, a lot of Lee Sin play, and he realized that if you're jungle Yorick, you walk into the enemy jungle, you put down 3 ghouls, you do 15% bonus damage, take 15% reduced damage, and it's hard to hit skill shots around the ghouls. You can out skirmish a Lee Sin, who was seen as the god tier, dueling jungler. So like that was the level he was willing to go, was to jump onto these alpha meta picks just to be able to out skirmish, because if he could overpower the enemy jungler, they could rotate, take turrets, it would just make the aggressive wars, the picks, everything happen faster. So he was very astute with his champion pool to just basically, he was all about out skirmishing the enemy junglers.
Yeah, the issue with that is that you actually have to convince the enemy jungler that they want to fight you. If he walks into the jungler and the Lee Sin just walks...
Everyone wanted to fight all the time.
And he just walks... Lee Sin's like, nah, I'm just going to walk on the other side of the jungle now. In the late game, you have a Yorick who just gets kited to death while Lee Sin is insect kicking your carries into the team.
Doesn't have any attack speed items and not really do much.
See, Papa, okay. the problem here is this is again where Monty needs to connect to the reality of pro players, okay? Because Monty, he made it sound very easy there. Well, what if the Lee Sin just doesn't fight? You know, what if, guys, we all put down our weapons and now we don't need nuclear armaments anymore? We can just live in peace. Now, here's the problem that Monty doesn't realize. In real life, you know, people will always fight. They will take a chair leg, they'll make that into a weapon, okay? I know that Monty naively thinks the world could work this way, so I'll give you an insight into the sort of where that Monty's mind works connected to the real world. So Monty sat down with this young man on this team he wants to coach called Doublelift, and he said to him, listen, you know that like if you play against a player like Vasily, if you just don't fight him, you win. And the Doublelift was like, okay, but how does that work though? Because I want to fight him. And he's like, no, that's the thing. If you just don't fight him, you don't play his game. You let him group, you let him do those aggressive moves. You just farm, you play safe, you pick Sivir, you play into the comp. And he was like, are we clear on this? And he was like, okay, Monty-san, I'm clear. And then he went into the game, and what happened? He came into the lane, their eyes connected, the force between them, that magnetic force that dragged them like the moth to the flame, and they had to fight. They were born to fight, Monty. In that moment, they just obeyed their natural instincts as humans, as beings in this world, drawn together. They were two souls, warrior spirits, meant to be joined in glorious union. That's the problem, Monty. Sometimes, ideally, you could live a certain way, but the reality of it's different. So, Chinese junglers were going to fight, right?
They were absolutely going to fight. And
okay, this should be episode 31. We've reached that difficult point in life where you past 30, you know, the joys of youth have gone, they've faded away, and now you're having to face the cold, hard reality that you're on your own in life. There's no one supporting you anymore. Rip Torn gamers. Now you just have to get your own. You have to get real friends. You can't hang around with people from school anymore. You have to realise that this girlfriend you've got is probably the best you're going to get. So you got to cling on to her and just make a relationship. So I'm glad you're with me still, Monty. I love you. I'm Thorin. I'm the host of this show. In some senses, the star, but I don't like to say it like that. I like to make other people the star. I like to bring other people into my world, set up the platform where they can become famous. So I've got a few like little lesser-known people in the community here. I'm going to try and boost their fame, you know. So see their Twitters down there, just follow them. They need a few followers. If anything, a few of my followers can leave and follow them if it works like that. I don't know how it works. So my regular co-host here, actually, it's ironic that I was speaking about like Monty as if he was sort of my long-term girlfriend who I'm stuck with, who we're in our 30s, you know, we're in that difficult phase where we have to commit to each other, because with that jumper that Monty's wearing there, he looks very much like the sort of thing that girls wear when it's like a day off, you know, they've got a cup of cocoa, they're inside watching some films, they've got a nice comfy jumper on, the dog's with them. So how you doing, Monty?
I'm doing great, you know, and as far as our relationship goes, I'm still like, I'm coming to terms and hoping that in our 30s that you mellow out a little bit and you can get over some of your youthful anger issues that, you know, sometimes cause me some public embarrassment. So
it used to be funny when we were younger, Monty, but now it's just become a bit tragic. And now you're just hoping, like all women, you're hoping that eventually, once I'm broken by life, then you can just change me, you know, and mold me to whatever you want me to be. And eventually, one day, maybe I will just be like Doa. But until then, I'm going to have to keep being me for now, Monty. So, Oh, by the way, Monty also, they're going to wonder who you are, Montecristo, because no one watches Korean League of Legends, okay? So,
and
they
definitely no one will watch it now that we don't have any players.
And also, apparently, no one was watching Worlds either. So, this guy, Montecristo, like, he sometimes does Worlds. If you can ever, like, unlock your eyes from Doublelift, he's, like, sort of usually to the right of him a bit, scolding him, mentioning how they failed together in that team that was their hopes and dreams. And, also, Monty's also, I'd like to call him a caster, and he likes to always mention, if you ever watch the show, guys, remember how he always mentions, like, he doesn't say, like, oh, I'm an OGN employee. He always says, like, yeah, I'm a freelance caster who's available for all gigs and birthday parties and bar mitzvahs, because he secretly wants other people to hear the show and then hire him. And so that might be happening, but I can't reveal where, guys. It's sort of like the Monty's quantum casting uncertainty principle, where even he doesn't know if he's casting an event right until the very minute before. So maybe he'll find out on the day that he's cast. I don't know. How you doing, Monty?
I'm doing great. Sometimes I don't even know where the continent I'm going to be casting in is either. But so I can exist in two places at the same time.
Well, actually, I just saw a great hype video for the GPL, so I think you should go there. I think they're an up-and-coming league. I think they've got a lot going for them. Also, by the way, jokes aside, I actually think that people made a good point where, you know, that GPL teaser looked terrible. Everyone said some stuff, right? Like, oh, if this had been Doublelift and those other players just doing the exact same thing, people probably would have hyped it. And I have to admit, they're probably right. You can do almost anything in like one of those Riot videos, and people are like, oh my god, did you see it? It's so sick. It's like every superhero movie in the world. There's always that like fake leak of like the costume like a month before, and someone's like, oh my god, have you seen that Batman outfit? It looks amazing. No one's ever been like, oh, that looks shit.
Or that Star Wars trailer that just came out.
Oh yeah, that looks pretty good.
That had nothing, that's amazing. Nothing in it.
Dude, it had Star Wars in it.
It had a black guy in it. Listen, we've come a long way. It's the 70s Star Wars started in. You're only allowed to be a jive-talking, street hustler guy. Even in the Star Wars universe, that's the only sort of black guy you could be. Sort of like that guy out of Shaft or something. That guy who's all on the street. That's all you could be in Star Wars. But we've come so far. You can now be a stormtrooper and like essentially you can be evil and be black. That's what we've learned from Star Wars now. Kreppel's actually already. I can see it in the back of his eyes. He's like, was it a mistake coming on this show? Could this affect my career negatively? Yeah. Welcome to Sony Insight. Okay, so the one member Monty didn't mention. I have to bring Monty in first again. So the one member you kind of skipped over there, Monty, is my boy, one of my favourite players. You know, I think he's a great player. I love the way I love the way squares like you are like, hey man, the rules of societies. You've got
to. I know you like me, but you don't have to talk.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, no, yeah. Okay, I won't talk about you so much. I'll move on to SoaZ now, you know, like, sure, I should leave you to, the best things should be left to last, you're right. So, anyway, one of my favourite players is a guy where he sees sort of like a square, sort of stuck in the mud 60s guy with his short sleeve shirt and his black tie on, working for IBM like Monty, and Monty's like, God damn it, there's rules in society and you gotta follow those rules, and listen mister, you buck your ideas up and you start playing tanks and you come into those team fights and you zone, buddy, you zone, you don't do damage, you build your frozen heart, then you build, like that's what Monty's like. And so SoaZ comes in there like this foppish French cavalier with a frilly shirt on and a kind of devil-may-care attitude, like D'Artagnan himself, reinvigorated, and he says like, excuse me monsieur, like, and then he just swings in there on a rope and he saves the whole day, or it goes totally to shit, one of the two, but whichever it is, I love either way. So Monty, what do you think about SoaZ, you know?
No, I love SoaZ.
May I just remind you, Monty, he's a 3-time LCS champion, just in case you forgot that. Continue.
Look, I love him as a player. I think his champion pool diversity is extraordinary. I just think that occasionally he does suboptimal things just because he gets bored and doesn't feel like playing the meta. That's it. I think he would agree with me. Like,
Monty, I wanted to ask your opinion on this because we haven't talked about it yet. What do you think of the new Fnatic lineup? I made a video where I was a bit scathing, essentially because, first of all, half the players I don't know, I've never seen them play, and some of them no one's ever seen play. And secondly, my concept was, it's one thing to gamble on one player who's unproven, but this team essentially gambles on 3 players who are unproven and one who's never played LCS. So what are your thoughts on the whole team all in all?
In Korea, Reignover is known for being like a poor LAN performer in general. Like, he has never, in compared to his like hype about his solo queue performance, he hasn't actually ever delivered. So I would say I'm just very nervous about it. I think that I'm actually a bit surprised, I guess, that YellowStar stayed with the team. And then everybody else, to me, is just incredibly unproven on a big stage. And it's a huge risk to see that you're going to get that synergy. Maybe it will pay off, but I think that they're likely to struggle.
maybe what they did is YellowStar said, like, listen, guys, it's time for me to retire. I've had a great career. I've made all the worlds, you know. Expeke is leaving, SoaZ is leaving. Listen, the team's breaking up, you know. There's no place for me. It's time for me to retire. And then Fnatic said, like, what if we were to pay you? What if we found a loophole where we could pay you all 5 of the Riot salaries? And then he was like, well, no, that wouldn't work, though, because how would we pay the other 4 people? I mean, they're going to want a full salary. And they were like, not so fast, YellowStar. What if we could find 4 people who were willing to play for absolutely nothing just to play in Fnatic? And he was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, it'll be sort of like that Make-A-Wish Foundation, you know. We'll get these young guys, some of them in Korea maybe, they've heard about the West. We'll tell them about the pizza, and we'll tell them all the good stuff that you have in the West. We'll fly them over, and all you have to do is say the team is good and just collect those 5 salaries. And YellowStar said, like, you know what? Maybe I was too hasty with that whole retirement thing. Maybe I should give it one last try. I feel a lot of hope brewing inside me. What do you think, Monty? Give me something. You don't have to actually address that, but do you have any other thoughts about that? Okay, Monty.
A couple of times in Solo.
What about Janna? Why is Janna still important in Korea?
Because in the team fight scenario, you still have ultimate disengage with Janna. She has a strong laning phase, incredible peel, powers up an AD carry. Like, there's just really no discernible downside. Plus, you can build Magi's on her, and you'll just never die because you're Janna. And so you can get more AP and have more impact.
Nif, you heard all that? He just sold you Janna there. You know,
I know.
All that pump up the AD carry, ultimate disengage, get Magi's, don't even die. Let's do it, right?
I still like Janna. It's just that we as a team haven't prioritized it as high lately.
You hear the way he said that, Monty? The political correctness is just beautiful. It's like, I really like her as a champion, but we as a team decided that we wouldn't be using Janna, actually. Which means I'd like to play her, but 4 other people told me I'm not playing her, and I am Nif, so... Okay.
No, we might play her again next week, maybe. We'll see.
So, things we've learned from this episode... Things we've learned from this episode. We've learned that Froggen and Reckless pick whatever they want, whenever they want. Nif sometimes has to play mid lane and top lane champions in support role. And if Nif really likes a champion who has no discernible downside, then unfortunately he gets democratically outvoted.
Which is weird, because there's also the paradox in Alliance of the fact that he has solo lanes that like to counterpick, but for some reason they won't just first pick a support Janna, which is good in literally every situation in League of Legends. What's up with that? This is such a weird paradox. Won't first pick support. Even really powerful all-use supports, but also will not first pick power picks in the mid and top lane. Does Elements just hate power picks? Do you just hate champions that are like OP?
I think they just hate Nif.
Like, are you trying to like give yourself a handicap when you play against other teams? Like, what is going on?
Maybe this is the training weights.
I'm trying to put together the logic here of we need solo lane counter picks. Wouldn't that lead you to be first picking Janna? Isn't that the logical route to go? But no, against SK, you let them last pick Janna on red side.
I think you got outpicked pretty hard this game.
I think this is the secret strategy, Monty. They train on hard mode. They train on the most difficult mode. Then at Worlds, they go into pick ban phase versus GE Tigers. Everyone's like, oh my god, GE Tigers going to win. First pick, Nif comes in. Well, Wicked, obviously. He first picks Janna. They last pick all the lanes, and then there we go. They counted everyone. It's the ultimate strategy. Alliance Elements wins Worlds. Reckless dedicates his trophy to his fallen comrades who were in Challenger, in Origin, and what else? I mean, we're in a fantasy world at this point, so anything can happen. Reginald becomes like the #1 philanthropist in the world, gives all his money away to charity. I don't know.
Starts complaining about the team environment while hoisting the trophy.
Reckless complains that winning Worlds with Elements wasn't quite what he'd expected, and he's a little bit disappointed in how they won. And
I really thought that this is going to be a lot better than
Hilarious. And then one victory cigar just gets way out of control. Okay.
There won't be any Victory cigars. It's Riot. It's Riot sponsored.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.